Welcome to The Top Shelf, my Criterion DVD review series. This is episode 56. We got a couple more episodes after this before I'm done looking at my top shelf full of my Criterion collection. Today we'll be looking at Wim Wenders' Wings of Desire. My name is Ernest Whiteman III. I'm a Northern Ramapo filmmaker, artist, writer, and media educator. One of the reasons why I got into films was because of the next film. There's other reasons why that were more pressing, but I love this idea. So the next film we're looking at, Wim Wenders' masterpiece, Wings of Desire. Wings of Desire follows two guardian angels as they fly through the skies over Berlin, which is actually the German title. And one of them desires to be human. And in doing so, he sort of falls in love with a woman who can fly, which is, in this case, Solveig de Martin's trapeze artist named Claire. Now, Bruno Ganz plays Damiel, and Otto Sander plays Cassiel. And they're so entrenched in the roles that I would read online how people would tell stories of, or at least Bruno Ganz would talk of people coming up to him on airplanes and saying that they were so happy that he was on the plane with them because there was a guardian angel on the plane. That's how much this film has impacted a lot of people. And it's impacted me as well because this was one of the first foreign films that I ever remember seeing when I lived on the reservation in Wyoming. Of course, there was a lot of mom and pop video stores growing up, like Video World and Gamble's. And then Jiffy Rental sort of popped up later before I left. But there was one place called Movie Magic that actually had a foreign films selection there. And that's where I first saw Henry V, which is my all-time favorite film. And I remember seeing this on the shelf a lot. And I read the back and it said, hey, it's about guardian angels. And I used to like the lore of the angels. So I rented it and it just mesmerized me from front to back. Just love the story of the idea of falling from grace is reversed. To Damiel, the idea of becoming human is a fall to grace. It's a fall towards grace. Because the angel's world is depicted in this black and white, shot by the great Henri Alecan in his final film. When he finally decides to become human, the film switches to a very vibrant color. Again, still filmed great and excellent by Henri Alecan. And the idea that they didn't feel emotions or taste or feel anything, they were just there to witness. And as he enters the human world, he begins to feel all these sensations. And that's what's beautiful about this film. It's also a meditation on daily living, how people move on day to day. And how these guardian angels are sort of just watching. And they talk about how they can grow beyond their experiences when they're stuck being angels. And that's a great one. And so when I saw that in the video store, I watched it and I rented it. Now, to be honest, the first foreign films I've ever seen growing up on the reservation were actually Godzilla films. They used to play them in the afternoons on some of the local stations, back when local stations used to buy up a license for all these films. And in fact, the first time I ever saw Seven Samurai was when I was a teenager, back in Riverton, Wyoming. I remember watching the scene where they were talking about Toshiro Mifune's character's ancestry scroll, and they start making fun of him because it revealed that if he was this person in this scroll, he'd only be like 12. So I remember that scene stuck out to me, and it always stuck with me. Then when I saw Seven Samurai, I thought, that's the film I used to watch as a kid. And a lot of the Godzilla films as well. And then this was one of the first films that I actually sought out on my own and watched. So it's had a great impact on me as a storyteller, to be more meditative rather than punching at things to try to get your ideas across, even though I still do that in some of my filmmaking. I low-key wanted to remake this about two Native American angels floating around the skies of Wind River. And but I got beat to the punch by City of Angels, the really crappy. Don't see City of Angels. No matter how big a Nick Cage fan you are, just don't support that film. Go see this instead. It's a more superior film. I've had people say, "Oh, that nothing happens." I remember this used to be my litmus test for girlfriends. You know, I said let them watch it and then tell me what they thought about it. And I remember one telling me nothing happens, and I said, "Well, how far did you get?" She said, "I only got through halfway before I turned it off." You missed the great second half of it as well. But I found out litmus tests are just stupid. Never do that. Never give litmus tests to potential partners, because that's just stupid. And that's another thing I learned from Wings of Desire. So let's break out the glasses. This is a remaster. Actually, it's a new to the collection as well. I have several copies of this on VHS and on DVD, old versions, because one thing Criterion isn't quite good at is getting great film commentaries. The MGM disc has a full front-to-end commentary by Wim Wenders himself, and that's the reason why I keep that edition. It has a great making of documentary on that, but that got ported over to this. But so I don't understand why they couldn't port that commentary to this film, because Special Director's edition, he oversaw the restoration, so I don't see why he couldn't at least record a new commentary, because this commentary on this is pieced together from interviews. 2-disc Director's Approved Special Edition, newly restored high-definition digital transfer, supervised and approved by Wim Wenders, audio commentary featuring Wenders and actor Peter Falk, trailers, and new and improved English subtitles. The thing about this is that it is really restored. A lot of the old versions, including the VHS version, has this muddied version that looks almost sepia tone, and people thought that was the aesthetic that they were going for with the film. But since he did this as a director approved one, it's actually more, I wouldn't say black and white, I would say various shades of silver. And that's what makes this movie look so beautiful in this transfer. The second disc has the aforementioned Angels Among Us, the 2003 documentary about the making of the films. An episode of a TV show, French TV show called Wim Wenders Berlin, January 87. Talks about making the film, which includes on-set footage. An interview with the director of photography, Henri Alicon, which is really, you should look forward to that. Deleted scenes and outtakes. Always include the deleted scenes and outtakes. Excerpts from the Alicon to Lumbria and Otto Gantz and Sanders' A Remembrance of Kurt Boy. And of course notes and essays in the booklet. This just reminded me of something. In the previous MGM edition, they're looking at the outtakes, and those have commentary by Wim Wenders as well, and includes an alternate ending where Cassiel becomes human, and it ends with the pie fight like Dr. Strangelove. But he offered to buy anybody a pie who could re-edit all the outtakes into that final ending and send it to him. I was always tempted to try that, but maybe you should. Again, one of my top 10 favorite films of all time. Spine number 490. Next time we'll be talking about my other favorite Wim Wenders film, Until the End of the World, which is new to the Criterion Collection. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.